The road from Nemmara to Kolangod to Seydumada is through Palghat Gap. The mountain range on the right is the Nelliyambadi Hills. Beyond it lies Parambikulam Tiger Reserve. But to get there by road from Kerala, you have to traverse Tamilnadu. Not too long ago, the forests of Parambikulam were no different from the rest of the Western Ghats. Pristine, virginal. Other than the sporadic timber extraction by the feudal owners, the woods remained a haven for the wild. Plants and animals, man and nature. Then the European colonizers invaded this country. Like leeches, they sucked out the wealth of our forests. They took away the naturally growing teak, ebony, rosewood, blackwood and bamboo. Wanton, rampant exploitation of forests continued throughout the 19th century. The natives hardly benefited from it. With the vision of developing Cochin to a major harbour, King Ramavarma set his sights on the forests as the source of funds. In the early 20th century, the British brought in a unique, ingenious system to extract timber from Parambikulam. In 1905, the Cochin Forest Steam Tramway cleaved the forest for 80 kilometres, beginning from the heartland of Parambikulam through the dense forests down to Chalakudi. From Chalakudi to Cochin and beyond the seas went the forests of Parambikulam for shipbuilding in England. Forests were bled white. Even within 20 years, the tramway incurred heavy loss despite the intense timber extraction. The tramway was finally shut down by the early 1960s. Parambikulam continued to lose her forest wealth, even after independence. Even as Sungam and Parambikulam valleys were stripped off their teak, natural forests were clear-felled for teak plantations. The Kannimara teak is symbol of the bygone grandeur of Parambikulam. 450 years old, this is one of the oldest and largest teak trees in the world. 6.57 metres wide and 48.5 metres high, Kannimara teak was bestowed with the first Mahavriksha Puraskar by Government of India in 1994-95. Most wildlife sanctuaries in Kerala evolved around dams and hydroelectric projects. Large tracts of forest went underwater. The catchment area of the reservoir had to be protected. Parambikulam Aliyar project was completed in the 1960s to provide water for Tamilnadu. The project is a network of 9 dams and 2 weirs. The reservoirs submerged around 21 square kilometres of forests. The present Tiger Reserve coexists with the Parambikulam, Thoonakadava and Peruvaripallam dams. Nature is resilient. The natural forests of Parambikulam hold an amazing, rich, floristic diversity. Parambikulam has 4 major forest types: West Coast tropical evergreen forests, West Coast semi-evergreen, Southern moist mixed deciduous, and Southern dry mixed deciduous forests. Low-altitude marshy grasslands known as vales, reed, cane and bamboo breaks are also found here. The diverse vegetation includes more than 1,400 tree species and 1,320 flowering plants. The inventory keeps growing. The critically endangered Nyaval species, Zyzaygium palgatens, though only few in numbers, grow here safely. Lofty are the hills of Parambikulam. Kadimala Gopuram at 1438 metres, Bandaravare at 1290 and Vengoli at 1120 metres. Extensive timber extraction and submergence of hundreds of hectares of forest displaced both human and non-denizens of the forest. There are 7 settlements in the sanctuary: Poopara, Kadava, Kuriyarkutti, Sungam, 5th Colony, Earth Dam of the indigenous communities, and PAP colony of the settlers who came in during the dam construction period. The Kadars are settled in Earth Dam, Kuriyarkutti, Sungam and part of the Kadava colonies. The Mudavas of Poopara settlement are said to have migrated from the south during the 1950s and 60s. Parambikulam was a modest wildlife sanctuary till recently. It became the 2nd tiger reserve in Kerala in 2009. The new reserve has a total area of 644 square kilometres, with a core area of 391 square kilometres and a buffer zone of 253 square kilometres. For a visitor, the focus is on the elusive tiger. Only the very lucky are bestowed with a glimpse of the royal animal. In summer days, when the forest streams have ebbed, perchance you may see the magnificent animal stretched out on a rock, sunning. No better place than Parambikulam to see the gaur at close quarters. Nothing can match the majesty of a full-grown adult male gaur. Elephant, alone or in herds, is a treat to watch. But ensure you are not spotted by them. Give elephants and the rest of the wildlife a respectful distance. This is Sungam. An elephant camp was opened here in 1920. Elephants caught in the pits were brought here and tamed and trained to submission. The Sungam camp was abandoned in 1973. You might see wild boars hanging out near the human habitations and mistake them for domesticated ones. Cuddly teddy bears? Far from it. Sloth bears can be quite aggressive. Cheetal or spotted deers have got used to human presence. Hunting in packs, Tole, the Indian wild dog, run down their prey relentlessly. There are several other carnivores in Parambikulam. Many are nocturnal. Otter, civet, mongoose, Nilgiri marten and the jungle cat are some of them. Parambikulam has more than 270 bird species, of which many are endemics and rare. 1933, Dr. Salib Ali explored the forests riding the Cochin Forest Tramway and recorded more than 100 species of birds. He stayed at Kuriyarkutti with his wife, Thenmina, during his survey. Hornbills. They are enigmatic giants among forest birds. Bizarre, spectacular and awe-inspiring, they play essential roles in forest ecosystems as agents of seed dispersal of forest trees. 3 species out of the 4 in Kerala have been recorded in Parambikulam. The endemic Malabar grey hornbill, the great hornbill, and the Malabar pied hornbill. They have quite unique nesting habits. They mate for life. The female seals herself inside a tree cavity at a stretch for 3 to 4 months, during which time the male provides food for the mother and growing chicks inside the cavity. One study on the great hornbills revealed that adult hornbills delivered 20 fruit species belonging to 8 tree families. They also prey on frogs, skinks, snakes, rodents and small birds, at times even on dragonflies. Butterfly surveys are conducted every year in Parambikulam. There are about 260 species in the reserve. Even in the last survey, the experts could discover 11 species new to Parambikulam. Typical of Western Ghats, Parambikulam is home to an immense variety of insects and spiders. A spider survey done a few years ago revealed 8 entirely new species to science, like this Haplocostus kai, which lives inside silk-lined burrows. During the transition from a minor sanctuary to a tiger reserve, Parambikulam went through a bad patch. It took the commitment of dedicated officers to turn it around and make Parambikulam one of the best sanctuaries in the country. The Eco-Development Committees for the Tribals in 2001 benefited them hugely. They were gradually brought into the mainstream. Employment as field watchers, tourist guides, and developing value-added products not only enhance their incomes but also the social and educational levels.
EDC തുടങ്ങിയ പിന്നെ ഞങ്ങൾ കാട്ടിൽ പോയിട്ട് ഇഞ്ചി കൊണ്ടുവന്നിട്ടാണ് അച്ചാർ ഇട്ട് ഞങ്ങളുടെ ചെലവിനും ആഹാരത്തിനും മക്കളുടെ കാര്യത്തിനും എല്ലാം EDC വന്ന പിന്നെയാണ് ഞങ്ങളുടെ ജീവിതം ഇത്തിരി മുന്നോട്ട് പോകാനുള്ളത്.
As one returns from Parambikulam, a brief stop at Topslip is advised. Walk a little bit down to a nondescript tombstone bearing the name Hugo Wood. Si monumentum requiris circumspice. If you seek my monument, look around. Hugo Wood was a forest officer in Anamalai during 1915 to 1926. The forests in the Anamalai hills were once rich with teak and rosewood. Indiscriminate felling for the railways and shipbuilders virtually denuded the forests between the 1820s and the 1880s. Starting with personally planting teak in 25 acres, the plantation expanded to over 160,000 acres by the time of his death. Western Ghats from Pichi to Erevikulam through Anamalai lie in an unbroken chain. This is essential for the survival of a large population of wildlife, especially the larger mammals like tiger, which has a home range of 90 to 140 square kilometers. Parambikulam is part of the migratory routes of animals like elephants. The forest environment in Kerala is already highly fragmented. The unbridled encroachment and destruction of the sensitive Western Ghats region has resulted in catastrophes unparalleled. intensive conservation is the need of the hour. Whatever is left, let us preserve that for posterity.